Coming to Kickstarter this June, John Haynes at Death's Door, the man who rules the world, takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the standard and variant editions of John Haynes at Death's Door and lots of other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter this June. Hi everyone, it's Sean here, and before I get into going in on the numerous mistakes that this writer made as related to Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, and Bernard, I'm going to give everybody another update on John Haynes at Death's Door. Now, we're 9 days away until I launch the Kickstarter for John Haynes at Death's Door, and I am really excited about getting this comic to you. All of the art is complete, all of the lettering is complete, and I have put together all of the files for printing, and all I'm waiting to do is ship this comic to you because everything is done, and once I can get this project funded, I will be shipping this comic directly to you. So on June 22nd, if you put in a pledge, you're going to be able to pick up the first all-new John Haynes comic book. Now, as I'm still working on other SJS Direct projects, I took a look at an article from Bleeding Cool. And this article from Bleeding Cool really caught my attention because it shows me how bad the writers over at DC Comics are. And they're so bad because they don't even know how basic human relationships actually work. Now, this new scene from your recent Tim Drake comic shows your Tim Drake out with his ex-girlfriend, Stephanie Brown. Now, as everybody remembers, a couple of months ago, a writer unilaterally decided she was going to make Tim Drake bisexual and ignore the past 30 years of the character's numerous relationships with girls, like his first girlfriend, Ariana Dershenko, from, I believe, the third Robin miniseries, and Stephanie Brown, the spoiler, the girl he's been dating ever since about 1994 on and off. Now, this writer decided to arbitrarily end Tim Drake's relationship with Stephanie Brown in order to push a social justice agenda with the character, where she decided that the Tim Drake character would be bisexual just because she wanted to push an agenda. Now, as she's pushed this narrative on the character, she has shown how completely out of touch she is as related to human relationships. Now, I myself also wrote a relationship where a character had to deal with a partner who was recently revealed to be homosexual in a novel I wrote called A Recipe for Success. And from my years of research as related to human relationships, I had to have the Cassandra Lee character react to the situation in a way that I saw numerous women go out here and react. But we clearly see from this comic panel, this writer didn't do any of the research that I did when I was writing books like A Recipe for Success as related to heterosexual and homosexual and relationships. Now, in this whole scenario, we have Tim Drake, who has recently broken up with Stephanie Brown, and he's sitting here going to have him meet his ex-girlfriend to introduce her to his new boyfriend, Bernard. Now, this entire scenario is absolutely ridiculous, and it's ridiculous because it completely violates the relationship code. Now, any man and woman who has ever been in a relationship, heterosexual or homosexual, knows it's a no-no to ever introduce your ex to your current partner. And you don't do this because it is disrespectful to both of your partners, because as you are both in a relationship with that person intimately, it is not appropriate for you to introduce an ex to your new partner early in a relationship, because there are still a lot of feelings there. And if you truly care about your partner, you would never go out here and say, oh, I'm going to introduce you to my ex, because that is just something that would really be disrespectful to your current partner. So most guys and most girls, they're not going to go out here and even set up this scenario because they love their partner. And because they love their partner, they're not going to put them in a situation where they may put that partner in dangers. Because a lot of times when it becomes to men and women who are in intimate relationships, they get very emotional because it's a very personal thing that you had with this person, and they're seeing this person as the person who wound up breaking up their relationship. So that's why people don't go out here and introduce their partner that they're currently with to their ex, because there's a lot of feelings there, and it's clear to me that this writer doesn't understand about the feelings a woman would have about meeting a person who has replaced them in the relationship. Because your Tim Drake, according to this writer's whole frame structure for story, it left Stephanie for Bernard out of nowhere. So Stephanie doesn't have any feelings about this at all. From most of the women I have interacted with in places like the jobs that I've had, or just seen on talk shows like Jerry Springer or Ricky Lake or Jenny Jones, many of those women, it really hurt them when they heard that, oh, the guy I was dating decided to leave me for another person, and it was a double stinger if their boyfriend were to leave them for another man. So, but your Stephanie Brown here doesn't have any of those feelings. No, she's all smiles about meeting Tim Drake and going to this coffee shop to go meet his new boyfriend, Bernard. Now, that's completely out of character from most of the women I have seen, and that is completely out of character from what I have studied from female behavior. And we have your Stephanie Brown sitting there more excited about meeting Bernard than Tim is as having a relationship with her. That makes no logical sense because, again, most women, this would be a major bruise to their ego, seeing the person who replaced them in the relationship with the man that they're involved with. And from what I've seen, many women's reactions would not be to be so excited to meet this guy and be the friend. Their reaction would be, I want to beat the living snot out of this person for taking their man away. Because again, women are emotional, and when they give themselves to a man, usually, as Ringo has pointed out, their DNA is a part of them, their spirit is a part of them, and this would be a major, again, bruise to this woman's ego. But this writer wants us to believe that she's going to be happy and excited, and that's not making any logical sense, because in the real world, again, women form strong emotional bonds over men. So she would not be happy and excited to see the man that she's with out here with another man, because she's already formed emotional bonds and soul ties with this man. So she's going to be very angry, but they want us to believe she's going to be happy. And this whole wanting to be happy is all about pushing the agenda with the Tim Drake character, because that's what's happening here with the Tim Drake character. The writer is all about pushing agenda and pushing their narratives and not understanding basic human behavior and basic human dynamics. This whole scenario that they're putting together makes absolutely no logical sense. No woman would be sitting there excited to be in the presence of the person who is the current partner that their ex is having a relationship with. No, that woman would want nothing to do with that whole situation unless it allows them an opportunity to beat the living snot out of that person, because they would be so emotionally hurt about this whole situation that they would want to hurt back the person who they believe took the person that they loved away from them. So this writer is so caught up in their agenda, they're not even understanding basic human behavior. They're not understanding basic human feelings. No, it's all about pushing their identity politics and showing us that this is not a story of where characters grow and develop organically, because when you have characters that grow and develop organically, you understand that your characters, if they're in a intimate relationship, they have feelings, and those feelings aren't just something that they push away. I mean, if you've been in a relationship with a person for an extended period of time, like Tim and Stephanie are, you're not going to be sitting there excited when you're seeing a boyfriend who is currently dating the man you were recently dating. And that just shows, again, how completely out of character that these characters are acting, and how bad the storytelling is at DC Comics. Now, when I wrote A Recipe for Success back in 2004, I wrote it where the Cassandra Lee character, when she saw her fiance Gerald in bed with another man, she just lost it when she saw this. And she lost it because here was the man she was out here having a relationship with. Here was the man she was getting ready to marry, and here's this man in bed with her man, and she just went off and ballistic in that situation because that was devastating to her. It was very hurtful. I mean, here is the man you're going to marry, and he goes out here with somebody else, and there was no smiles in that story, because I understand that when it comes down to men and women, it is disrespectful when you have a partner going out here with another person outside of the relationship. Because here we have Bernard, and he's going to meet the girl who was his partner's ex, and they're gonna meet up a few weeks after the breakup, a few months after the breakup. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is, this woman would still be hurting. She would still be dealing with a lot of bruises to her ego, and she would not be all smiles and friendly. No, because women are very emotional, and it's very hurtful for them to see, oh, this person I was dating just dropped me out of nowhere, and now they're out here with this other person. Again, when I look at this writer from my over 20 years of writing experience and having written this kind of story myself, I know that this writer really doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to storytelling, because there wouldn't be all smiles and happiness. No, for this, Stephanie would want nothing to do with Tim at this point, and she would be staying away from Tim because she would need time to process her feelings regarding being dumped, one, and then two, seeing him out here almost immediately with another person. So I'm looking at this whole situation, and it just shows me how bad the writing at DC Comics has become, and how bad DC editorial has allowed the writing to become. Because a good editor would have yanked this writer's chain at the beginning, at first, by saying, no, you're not going to make Tim Drake a bisexual, because that's not in the character's canon or the character's history. And two, that editor would have let that writer know how human relationships works, and also they would have advised them to go read books like E. Lynn Harris's Invisible Life, or many of the other books about the whole issues of down low and the issues of down low men. That's what I would have advised that writer to do, because it's clear to me that this writer was so caught up in agenda. It was all about their feelings about pushing whatever ideas they had without ever doing any sort of research on the subject. Because when I go out here and I write a story like A Recipe for Success, and I'm introducing an alphabet character like I did with the Gerald character, I wanted to make sure that I showed all of the sides as related to this type of relationship situation, and I wanted to make sure that I presented the whole issue of down low and showed how it not only affected heterosexual women, but how it also was very unethical to do to other homosexual men. So I wanted to make sure that the whole situation with the whole down low situation got shown from all the sides, so that readers got an objective perspective on that whole scenario. And A Recipe for Success was one of the best-selling books at SJS Direct for 2 or 3 years, and it's still a critically acclaimed book, and a lot of people like the way that I presented an alphabet character, even though the alphabet character was presented as the bad guy. The whole point was it was presented in a way that showed you how down low people are unethical and how dishonest they are, and how people's feelings are not regarded in these kind of situations. And the way your Tim Drake is acting, it really is showing no regard for Stephanie's feelings or Bernard's feelings, because to sit there and bring your ex-girlfriend to your new man, that is disrespectful to both of your partners, and it's disrespectful because you don't bring your ex in the presence of your new partner, because it's just that person has a right to their feelings, and you need to let that relationship end between you, and you need to cut off contact so that person can process and deal with their feelings. And that's something that this writer doesn't understand about relationships, and that's why this whole storyline has been critically panned and roasted, because this right here is a violation of the basic relationship code, straight or gay. It's just not something that people do, because it's again a total disregard for the feelings of your ex, and it's a total disregard for the feelings of your current partner. Again, it's just not something that is done, and I have seen, again, many of these scenarios ending up in violence on numerous newscasts, and this would not go very well overall. It's just a bad idea, and it just shows what happens when your writers are focused on agenda and really have not really thought critically about the story they're writing. Now, my new comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, will be available on Kickstarter on June 22nd, and if you want to pick up the first action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book, you may do so by going to the Kickstarter on June 22nd. But if you want to get on the mailing list for that Kickstarter, you can get on the mailing list by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to check out the John Haynes series so far, you can pick up all of the books in the John Haynes series on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find the John Haynes series books on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis Legacy. Sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.